Last night you noticed something strange. A bird was there just outside your window, not chirping, not moving, just watching. At first you thought it was nothing. Maybe it got lost, maybe it was resting. But then you realized it wasn't leaving, and the silence. That felt louder than any sound. Here's what most people don't realize. When a bird behaves like this, especially at night, it's not random. It's not meaningless, there's always a pattern. And once you start noticing it, you begin to see it happen more often, not just to others, but to you. Because this isn't just about the bird. It's about what your mind does when something breaks the normal rhythm. And this is where it gets interesting. The first thing you probably felt was confusion. Birds aren't supposed to be active like that at night, especially not in complete silence. That moment when your brain tries to make sense of it, that's where the shift begins. Psychologically, your mind relies on patterns to feel safe. Day means activity. Night means rest. Noise means life. Silence means stillness. But when a bird is there, alive, present, and completely silent, it disrupts that pattern. And when patterns break, your brain starts searching for meaning, even if there isn't any obvious one. That unease you felt, that's your mind trying to fill a gap it doesn't understand. But that's not the real reason it stayed with you. The second thing is the stare. You might not want to admit it, but it felt like the bird was looking directly at you. Not just in your direction, but at you. This is where perception plays a trick. Humans are wired to detect eyes and gaze. It's a survival instinct. Even the suggestion of being watched triggers alertness. Now combine that with darkness and silence, and your brain amplifies it. The bird might just be resting, conserving energy, or navigating low-light conditions. But your mind turns it into something more, a watcher, a presence. And once that idea enters your thoughts, it's hard to shake. Here's what most people don't realize. The less the bird moves, the more powerful that feeling becomes. The third thing is repetition. Maybe it didn't happen just once. Maybe you've noticed birds appearing at night more than usual. Or the same one coming back. This is where your brain starts building a pattern out of coincidence. Scientifically, birds can adapt to artificial light and urban environments. Some species shift their activity because of noise during the day. Others get disoriented by lights, but psychologically, repetition feels intentional. It feels directed, and that's when a simple behavior starts to feel like a message. This is where it gets unsettling, because now you're not just observing. You're anticipating. The fourth thing is the silence itself. Not just the bird being quiet, but everything else too. Have you ever noticed how in that moment the world feels like it pauses? No wind. No distant noise, just stillness. That's not always real. Your brain filters out background noise when it focuses on something unusual. It creates a tunnel of attention, and inside that tunnel, the silence feels deeper than it actually is. The bird becomes the center of that silence, and suddenly it feels like everything is holding its breath. But that's not the real reason it feels so intense. The fifth thing is timing. Why at night? Why when you're alone? This is where your emotional state matters. At night, your defenses are lower, you're tired, your mind is more reflective, more open. Small things feel bigger, shadows feel darker, and a silent bird outside your window feels deliberate. Biologically, your brain is more sensitive to potential threats in low visibility. So even something harmless can trigger a heightened response. The bird didn't change. Your perception did, and now something small starts to feel personal. The sixth thing is stillness, not just the bird's, but yours. When you notice something like this, you pause, you stop moving, you watch back. And in that moment, there's a strange connection. Two still beings aware of each other. It's subtle, but it creates tension, because humans aren't used to being observed without interaction. No sound, no movement, just presence, and that presence feels heavier the longer it lasts. Here's what most people don't realize. The longer you stay in that moment, the more your imagination takes control. The seventh thing is memory. After it's over, you keep thinking about it. You replay it, you question it. Was it really staring at you? How long was it there? Why didn't it move? Your brain tries to resolve the uncertainty, but it can't. And unresolved moments stick longer than clear ones. That's why this feels different from seeing a bird during the day. There's no closure, just a quiet, lingering question, and this is where it gets deeper. The eighth thing is meaning. Humans are wired to assign meaning to behavior, especially when it feels unusual. Across cultures, birds have been seen as symbols, messengers, signs. Even if you don't believe that, the idea exists in your subconscious. So when a bird behaves in a way that feels out of place, your mind connects it to something beyond logic. Not because it's true, but because your brain prefers a mysterious explanation over no explanation at all. But that's not the most important part. The ninth thing is awareness. After an experience like this, you start noticing more. Sounds at night, movements outside, shadows. You become more alert, more observant. And that changes how you experience your environment. The world feels different. Not necessarily dangerous, just watched. And even if you rationalize it later, that shift in awareness doesn't fully go away. And then comes the final realization. It was never really about the bird. It was about the moment it created inside you, a break in the ordinary. A pause in the predictable, a quiet reminder that not everything fits neatly into the patterns you expect. The bird didn't need to make a sound, it didn't need to move. Its silence was enough to make you question what you were seeing and what you were feeling. And maybe that's why it stayed with you, because in that brief, silent moment, something changed. Not outside your window, but inside your mind. So the next time you hear nothing and still feel like something is there, don't ignore it too quickly. Not because it means something supernatural, but because it reveals how your mind reacts when the world stops making sense. And once you notice that, you start seeing it everywhere. If something like this has ever happened to you, where a simple moment felt strangely intense or hard to explain, share your experience. Because the more you look into these moments, the less ordinary they start to feel.